Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, good afternoon, depends on where you live. But super, super excited to have everyone today. Guys, this is really going to be a great, actionable webinar for you to be able to take back and go to work. So, thank you to Sasha, who is joining me from Mailchimp. Super excited to have you. Sasha, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Hey, everyone. Like Crystal said, my name is Sasha. I am a senior education lead here at Mailchimp, specifically working on the Mailchimp and Co. Mailchimp Academy team. That is a team, kind of a side of the business where we get to sit with a lot of our partners, a lot of our experts, and teach you guys a lot of things and learn from you as well. I'm based out of San Francisco, so it is early morning time for me. It's 9 a.m. over here. I've been with Mailchimp for about close to like 4 years now, I'd say, but I've been using the platform for over a decade. So I'm an expert myself, you could say. So really excited to chat with everyone today, teach you some things, learn some things, help get you set up for success.
Absolutely. Well, Lemon Seed loves Mailchimp. Anytime we can get a client and get them on Mailchimp, it just has to us the best working capabilities. It's the most user friendly. So many connections, and so we thought you guys would be a great person to join us on this webinar today. It's called Speed to Lead: Email plus SMS Sequences that Actually Convert. Listen, so many people sleep on email marketing, especially when it comes to rehashing and re-engaging our existing customer base, and then also maintaining like an email newsletter and things like that. And so we really thought we would jump in here and just start talking through a couple of things like overall email marketing. So I like to start with this. The lemon seed way of life is one very simple way to utilize email marketing in your entire plan is a simple newsletter that goes out every single month that is on brand for you. So if you've got, a sailor or an armadillo or a ladybug or a dragon, because I saw Vanessa was on here. If you've got a cool mascot, you can name your newsletter after that, really use it for brand awareness. But also, Sasha, are there some things that we should be doing, ways that we should be setting up our newsletters, anything that comes to mind special about some unique ways that maybe we could get better tracking, better conversion? What do you think from that?
Yeah, definitely. There's so many different things. I'm thinking of some behind the scenes stuff, some not so sexy things that we do have to set up,
Yeah.
right, to make sure that all our stuff is firing correctly. A big, big thing, not just for Mailchimp, not just for all of our competitors, but really just kind of industry wide, is domain authentication. So
Okay.
whatever domain you're working on, right? Nike.com, if that's one of your clients, amazing. You got to make sure to authenticate their domain because nowadays if you're sending, let's say, to 5,000 customers or more, that email may not actually land in their inbox if that domain is not authenticated. It
Mm.
might go to the spam folder, it might go to the promotions folder. I don't check those. I don't know if y'all do. So that email that you worked so hard to build out may actually not get any eyes on it.
So how do you do that? How
Yeah.
do you
So
go
Mailchimp has a
authenticate?
process to do that. And I'm happy to just kind of share my screen and
Go
walk you
for
guys
it.
through it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do that. So here we are in Mailchimp. This is the front page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the top right. I'm using one of our demo accounts. It's called Big Mood Spa. This is just like
Oh,
it's just brand that we have.
we're gonna call it Big Mood HVAC today.
I love it. I love it. Then I'm going to go to profile, and then I'm going to go to the settings drop down. And then from here, I'm going to actually, you know what? We just changed this around recently, like 2 weeks ago. So my mind is still
That's
thinking
okay.
about
Old
that. We're
school.
gonna we're
Yeah.
gonna go to domains right there. Domains is going to take us to all of the various domains that we have that we're sending emails from, right? So I have
Mhm.
intuit.com, I have Mailchimp.com. I could also have some public email domains, though we do not recommend sending from these.
Okay.
So here you would just add and verify a domain, right? So you would input the email address that is associated to that domain. So whoever owns, in our case, Nike.com, right? We would input that email address here. Mailchimp is going to shoot an email to you for you to be able to verify that domain. Once you verified it, said, hey, I'm the owner, I pay for this thing, then we will add it into a list right here. And then you'll see just Nike.com, right? And instead of this big green pill, it will show us a yellow pill that says needs authentication. So I'll go ahead and just disable the authentication on Mailchimp right here. So it'll say needs authentication right here.
Okay.
All I got to do is click start authentication. And then two things can happen. Number one, we have an internal tool that can scrape Mailchimp.com, can understand that you own it because you've already connected it on the back end. You confirmed through that email, can look at all of the DNS records, the DMARC records, they're called, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll just do it for you. And it's super simple. And what this is going to do is this is now going to send a message to whoever owns Mailchimp.com, right? If Mailchimp bought that through Google, if they bought it through Squarespace, through whoever this is coming from, and it's going to say, hey, anytime I send an email through this domain, put it in an inbox, right? Don't put it in the spam folder. Don't put it in the promotional folder. So this is actually what is going to affect your delivery and what is called deliverability, right? The
Yeah. So let's
aspect of getting it into the inbox.
Absolutely. So I love this. So a lot of times clients will say when they come to us or if they're just, looking for us for advice, they'll say, I feel like my emails don't get delivered. And I'm like, well, they probably don't. Right? They probably don't. So this is one very easy place to check. Make sure that everything is authenticated. Now, if you're working with Lemon Seed, we take care of these things for you. But on the other side of this, like if you're just a user of Mailchimp in general on your own, this is a great way to do that. Okay, I love domain authentication. What was another thought you had about utilizing like some best practices for us sending out that newsletter?
Yeah. So I really just quickly want to go to MailChimp.com/help. I want to highlight this resource,
Okay,
700
cool.
plus articles, videos, all sorts of stuff. I'm just going to type in domain authentication here. I'm going to pull up one of our knowledge base articles and I'll drop this in the chat so y'all have it. Under the how it works section, it'll just tell you everything that I told you. It'll also provide some steps. Remember, I mentioned there's two methods. There's an automatic process, which is nice and easy for us. Then there's a
Hmm.
manual one. If you have a more complex domain provider, you'll find all that information here. So let me just drop that in the chat and then I will get you guys some other best practices. There's that right there.
Perfect.
Another thing that we talk about a lot is the warm-up process. So you might have hundreds, you might have thousands, you might have millions of contacts, right? And you might have been collecting them for quite some time, right? For years, for decades. A lot of those contacts may be stale, right? Maybe they have not engaged, maybe they've never opened that inbox, right? And so what's going to happen is they're not going to open your email. They're not going to click on your call to action buttons. They're not going to just engage with the email whatsoever. So what you want to do is you want to start sending initially only to contacts that you have collected in the last like 6 to 8 months, right? So however these folks have come in, right? Maybe you met somebody in person, maybe you've got a sign up form on your website, maybe you went to a conference, however they came in, doesn't matter really, as long as they've come in the last 6 to 8 months. And then what you do is you send them a series of emails, roughly like 4 to 5 emails, and only to those folks, right? Because segmentation is the name of the game here. What you want to
Love that.
do is you want to establish a rapport with all those domains. So all those email clients that these folks have, whether that's Gmail, Yahoo, et cetera, so that when you send this email out tomorrow and next week and the week after and whatever, right? All those folks are going to start opening it, clicking it, replying, forwarding, et cetera, right? That's going to send good signals to those email clients, to Gmail. It's going to know, hey, I can trust the sending domain of Mailchimp.com, Nike.com, et cetera, et cetera. So then once you're done with that sequence of those, like, let's call them VIP folks, those 6 to 8 month folks, then expand it to like 8 to 12 months, 12 to 18, 18 to 24.
So
So do a
Sasha, is
little
this just
stuff.
when you're getting started? Like
Correct.
when you're
That's
first
just when you're
starting to
getting
send it?
started.
Okay. Okay. So
Correct.
basically layer in kind of chunks of people.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. We have a whole section of our website that has gosh, like 11 different guides, I'm going to say. So I will spin that up for you guys. I will make sure to get that to Judy. Judy can pass it on. You guys can disseminate it on your side. A lot of really good plans are outlined there. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Week one, do this. Week two, do this. Week three, do this. That kind of thing. It's also,
Love
of
that.
course, industry dependent, right? Like you have to understand which industry you're in, what kind of content works for those folks, et cetera, et cetera. But
Well,
that warm up period is definitely like what you want to do at all times.
so I kind of look at our email newsletter as edutainment.
Mhm.
And I like to give a little bit of education, a little bit of entertainment, and a little tiny bit of sales.
Yep.
Right. So basically, and again, this is not everybody's jam, but think about it. So where I live is in East Texas. And so our newsletters that go out, the content in them is normally like, here's what's coming up. It's about to be 105 degrees. So, like safety tips for summer, also a cool lemonade drink you can make. And then at the very bottom, like, don't forget, we have a $99 tune up offer. So it's
Yeah.
very soft woven in there, but there's also like a reason to open it. It's got upcoming events. It's got a cool little recipe. It's got a shout out for a 5-star review. And so I like to educate and entertain inside of those. And so I think that's a good one to use for content for home services is, kind of speak to who got a 5-star review, tips for upcoming weather or summer or whatever you've got going on. So I think that's a cool opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. You want to have different sections, I would say, that reach out to different types of contacts, right? Like one big newsletter, though you have spent days and weeks working on it, may not serve the needs of everyone, right? Some folks just might want that education. Some folks just might want to grab their credit card and purchase that service. So you got to hit them with all three or four different things that you have going on. The other big thing to this, I would say another kind of best practice is personalization. You definitely want to start personalizing your emails. Now, a lot of these email clients have AI scrapers. They will scrape the email. They will look and based on their algorithms within those LLM models, they'll say, this seems too salesy. We're just going to push it to the spam folder. Unfortunately, there's nothing Mailchimp can do about that, right? Like we are kind of privy to what they're going to do. There are little things like personalization. So if you have your contacts' first names, you want to include those in the subject lines.
Which most of
Well,
us on this webinar, this is home services. So let me
mhm,
speak to my contractors that are on here.
yeah,
Garbage in, garbage out. So when you are gathering information from the customers that are using you, or you're at a festival and you're building a list of just people interested, it is important that we spell names correctly, get good email addresses, make sure that we have it, if their first and last name, let's say their name is like, Smith Paul, and you're like, okay, that could be misconstrued. So is their first name Smith and their last name Paul? Important. I think it's very important to really get good personalization. Thank you, Judy. She just posted in the chat there best practices for personalization. But contractors, we have a responsibility to make sure that our data that's coming in is still good.
yes, yes, that's such a good point. It's so hard, right? Like cleaning that data, that hygiene of all the lists, everything that we have is so, so tough. We have a guide. I'm also going to drop this in the chat. We call this our format guidelines for your import file. So that big CSV doc, the Excel file, or whatever you have, we have standards, right? We have naming conventions that you can use to make sure that data is parsed correctly in Mailchimp, because you don't want to address somebody by a nickname or something else, right? Or a
Yeah.
misspelling or what have you in their email. That's not going to come across well. So you want to make sure all that is clean. So definitely check out that guide that I just dropped in the chat.
Yeah. I love all these guides. So, guys, if you're on here in the chat section down there in the middle, look for they've dropped several cool little sales tools, or I'm sorry, best practice tools for you to use. So, loving that, love all of that. And then Sasha, like I think when we personalize, and you had mentioned this earlier, and I wrote it down, segmentation. Um,
Mhm.
segmentation is definitely there's riches and niches, right? So when we can hyper focus the content to be around how we want the client to respond. We have those emotional triggers. We can have those, energizer statements. There's all kinds of cool things we can do when we really segment our audiences. And so, what are some best ways that we can structure our list inside of Mailchimp?
Yeah, good question. So it depends on your business, right? Like depends what kind of service it is that you do, depends on how long you've been around, it depends on what type of content you generally send out. What I would say is take a look at your list and see if you can understand. Maybe you already know who these folks are, but understand what are the differences in the types of customers that I have, right? A customer that has received one service or a returning customer or a customer that's been around for a decade,
Right.
right? A customer that you go and you service every single week, every single month, et cetera, et cetera. What you want to do is you want to use our tags feature. This
Okay.
is an internal label that in your audience, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. I just want to show
Absolutely.
you this really quickly, what this looks like. So I'm going to jump over to the audience section right over here. And this is where all my contacts live. And this is for my big mood spa newsletter. I've got a little under 13,000 total contacts. So I've got all these email addresses here. I've got all this other data. I've got their SMS number, first names, last names, et cetera, et cetera. Then over here, if I keep scrolling and keep scrolling, I have a section called tags. This is internal only. It's just for you to understand the difference between this person and this person and this person, right? Whatever that is. So what you can do is you can select this person. Let's just do the first three, right? And now I can tag them. I can apply an internal label. And in this view, I can create a brand new one, or I can use one of these existing ones. So
Well,
I
and
can
so like
say,
for our contractors here, it might be like this is my membership club.
love it.
These are all the people that are in my membership. Or these are right. You mean again, this takes some editing and monitoring, but
Mhm.
this could also be like people that I met at the Blueberry Festival,
Yep.
or old membership clients. Like as you
Mhm.
pull new list through your CRM, it can help you really label these. And then when I go to build new audiences, I can add multiple tagged groups to build one audience. I'm assuming
Correct.
you're probably going to get there. So
Correct.
Blueberry Festival, you have a QR code, allows people to sign up to get and you get all these people from there. And then you also want to send this email to the same people that are already members of your membership club.
Exactly, exactly. So now I've added this tag to two folks. Tags are endless. You can have 100 tags for one contact for multiple contacts. So I've selected those. My action is going to be add tags, and then I'm going to click apply. And now we're going to get taken back into that contacts view. It's going to refresh it, and it's going to add those tags to those folks right here. So now this is a way that I can segment. Now my email is just going to go to those Blueberry Festival folks. It's not going to go to everyone else out here because they didn't come to that festival, right? So now I'm
Right.
going to create an email and I'll go up here into the top left-hand side, go to create. I'll just create a regular email. All right, let's call this Blueberry Festival. I can't type when I'm doing stuff
I
live.
know it's on purpose.
I got this like big old 16-inch computer recently, and the keyboard is different. So it's wild. Anyway, so now I'm building this email. In the to section, first, I want to expand that. I want to choose my audience. I know I'm dealing with a big mood spa newsletter. And then by default, we're going to say, hey, send this to everyone. I don't want to do that. I just want to reach out to my Blueberry folks. So in here, I'm going to go down to the tags section. I'm going to expand that and I'm going to see Blueberry Festival. I'm going to select those folks and then just click save right here. And now Mailchimp is going to calculate how many people I have. I only have 3 recipients because we just did this. So now this email, I'm going to, jazz it up, make it all pretty over here, set up all these other logistics, is only going to go to those 3 recipients. So that's segmentation. That is like the most basic common way that we segment customers. And then, of course, your email is all about Blueberry Festival, right? It's what you did, what they can look forward to, resources, et cetera, that you talked about there. Um,
Love.
it excludes everyone else. And this, when you segment, what it does is, again, it's only going to go to those folks, which means those open rates are going to increase.
Hmm.
Click rates are going to increase because you're not sending it to thousands and millions of people, right? You're sending it to a selected audience.
Yes. And this is where you can start personalizing the content where they want to open it and they want to do cool things with it. And it's not just open, keeping going. Tell me about that resend to non-openers there at the bottom.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can automatically resend this email, as it says, to contacts who didn't open it, but recently engaged with your content. So what that means is I'm going to send this email out today. I'm going to give it maybe a day or two, right? But over here, I can schedule this email to go out to folks 2 days after at 10 a.m. and I can whip up another subject line. And we'll just use that exact same email, right? So we'll give them a second chance to interact with that email. But what we're doing is we're changing the subject line. So it's a bit of A/B testing, if you will, right? We're seeing if like a different subject line is going to entice them to open this same email. So it's not a big lift on your end. You just fill out these 3 or 4 things here. You schedule this resend right here, and then it's going to go out 2 days after this original one goes out.
Okay. So I love this. And so, contractors, as you're watching this, like one of the things that I'm loving about this is the fact that this is easy. Like, again, look how let me think of the right words because I want to be kind, but like when you're putting content in and you can stop and create these, then they roll with you're preloading your work, right? You're preloading your work, you're keeping things going. And so I definitely think that's a cool option in there.
Yeah. One of the other things that we were talking a little bit about earlier is personalization. So let's actually jump into the email builder itself. So I'll click design email right here. That'll take me into the email builder. I'm just going to select one of these templates that I have already. Or actually, I'm going to create it in the new builder right here instead, because that one's much, much better. So yeah, let's just do this minimal layout right here. I'll click apply, and that's going to take me into the builder itself. It's preloaded my logo, and this is my text box. So I'm going to erase all this. I'm going to just say, hey. And then up here in my formatting toolbar at the top, I can click these 3 buttons, and this will expand an option called merge tags. This is how we pull data from that audience, such as first names, to be put into the body of the email. So this is how we greet folks dynamically. So I can say, hey, and then it's going to enter this merge tag. And this is going to take their first name and add it in this when this email goes out live. So I'll show you really quickly. I'll go to the top right, click preview. This is going to show me what my email looks like. I'm going to enable the live merge tag info right here. Just toggle that on. And for all of these email addresses, so this person right here, their name is Aura. And so when Aura receives this email, they're going to see their first name in here, right? So this is that personalization effort. One, just kind of behaviorally, when you get an email like this, you're like, oh, wait, how do they know me? Oh, okay, I get it. You're going to spend more time with that email, right? If it's addressed to you, especially, if it's a nice looking email. Right. The other thing on the back end, this is what all those email clients look at, Gmail, Yahoo, etc. They look at personalization efforts. They look at what is called dynamic content. If there's dynamic content in this email, they're more likely to place this email in the inbox as opposed to spam, promotional folders, etc., etc. So personalization is the name of the game. And you can do the same thing. I'm just going to take that merge tag. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to save and exit. Let's imagine I'm done with this email. It looks great. I want to send it out. I'm just going to click save and exit here. It's telling me I got a bunch of errors, but we won't worry about that right now. And in the subject line, I'm going to drop that merge tag. So I'm going to say, hey, first name, here's a recap of the Blueberry Festival. Another thing that those email clients like is emojis, but don't use too many. Use one. So click this emoji picker. Do we have a blueberry emoji? Is that a thing? That is a
Look at
thing.
there.
There we go. Now I've got that, right? So now this is a dynamic email. So this is going to pop their first name in. So when I go to my inbox, and I'll just give you a quick peek into my inbox here, it's going to take that email, that name, and put it in the subject line right here. So then it would say, hey, Sasha, check this out, et cetera, et cetera. So that is definitely something that's going to increase those opens, increase those click rates, It's going to generate higher revenue for you down the line. And then the other thing is our preview text. This is what sits right next to the subject line. This is completely optional, but it's a way for you to entice the customer or your
Yeah.
client to open this. It's kind of give them a sneak peek of what the email is about. So let's say you're running some deal, right? Take 20% off your next service. Click for more info, something like that, right? They're going to see that and they go, 20% off. I do need to get that stuff serviced, right? So they're going to open it. Boom. Now you got a higher open rate. Hopefully they're going to see an enticing headline, a nice image, a nice call to action button. Hopefully they click on something, takes them to your website. They purchase a service, set up, a consultation call, et cetera, et cetera. So that's definitely something that is a huge best practice. In addition to that personalization, is kind of giving them a little sneak
A
behind the
little teaser.
email is about. Correct.
So again,
If
this is
you
all
don't,
about speaking directly to the
Mhm.
client, tempting them with things, being this more personalized, which again, I love this statement of it helps. It doesn't guarantee, but it helps that these emails are going to be placed in truly in front of the intended recipient and not getting all caught up in spam folders and things like that. So I love that. Okay. Any other thoughts on this?
Here, let's see, what do we have here? I mean,
I'm
send time is
loving
a
this.
huge
Yeah.
aspect. So there are ways that we can tell you when the best time is to send an email. So when you go to schedule an email, you can select under delivery time right here, send when recipients are most likely to open. So what this is going to do is going to take a look at all of Mailchimp's internal data for the same type of customers that you all are, right? Whatever industry that you're in, we're going to take a look at all of the other thousands and millions of Mailchimp customers that are in that industry, and specifically the folks that have the highest open and click rates within that industry. And then we're going to see what is the optimal time that they send in. When do they send their emails that in turn gives them the highest open rates? And right here, it looks like 5 p.m. is the optimal time for whatever industry this demo account is in. So you'll have to look at your settings and set that up and tell us which industry you're in, et cetera, et cetera. But that is definitely a best practice is sending when folks are most likely to open, right? Otherwise, you can send it a specific time. If you're like, I don't know about 5 p.m. I want to send this at 1 p.m. Awesome. You can select 1 p.m. and then click save right here. So those are kind of the two most used options, I would say, when it comes to sending an email. You can also send a time warp using our time warp feature. This is a way, if you have folks in various time zones,
Mm-hmm.
so if you got folks Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific, et cetera, or even internationally, you can send the same email at 9 a.m., let's say, in each of those time zones. So if you're talking about something very, very specific that you don't want East Coast to know about first, compared to us West Coast folks over here, then you can use the time warp feature and you can say, well, I'm going to send this at 10 a.m. in that recipient's time zone.
Mhm, mhm. I love that. So we've got a poll right now on the screen. What is the hardest part of creating follow-up emails? So I encourage you to go vote. We're right now knowing what to send, which ironically, Sasha, Lemon Seed excels at that part. We love helping clients know what to send, but there is a lot of things where like just finding the time to send the emails, knowing what time to send the emails, setting up automation, which by the way, shout out to Mailchimp for that awesome help guide that they have in there. But also designing the email is kind of a challenge. We see that a lot of contractors really struggle with time, allocating enough time. Literally, Lemon Seeds built off of giving contractors back more time every day because our goal here is to help you um, as contractors really get things like this connected with MailChimp, emails designed, automation set up, tags built out, just giving good guidance for that. So this is a great exercise here. I wanted to move a little bit into SMS when we can,
Mhm. Yeah.
because that one gross things like opt-ins and gross things like that. So, because I love a good little double punch, little karate chops in there of like they get an email, they get a text, maybe they get an email again. How can we get more people to accept our agree to let us text and email them? What do we do?
Yeah, great question. So if you have existing customers, which you all do, And maybe they never signed up to receive text messages. Maybe you never highlighted that in next to a QR code or in your paperwork or on your website or whatever. All you got to do is send them an email and say, hey, here's a link to a sign up form where you're going to opt in to receiving text messages. And all they got to do is just fill out that information, right? And you can make that very, very simple for them. You can make that say first name, last name, email address. And then underneath, we'll have an option for a checkbox. So they just got to re-enter all that stuff, click the checkbox, says, hey, yeah, I opt in to receive SMS messages. And then those phone numbers will be added into your audience, and then you can start shooting out those SMS messages to them. That is not something that we just put in front of you to make your life harder. It's a federal law. It's mandated by the federal government that you have to have folks separately opt in to SMS messages, whereas email is a little bit of a wild west, right? Because it's just been around for decades and decades. So definitely, if you haven't already, if you have sign up forms, you have pop up forms, you have landing pages, or if you've just got like a handout, right? That folks like write their stuff on, make sure to have some language that says, by submitting this information, I opt in to receiving SMS messages from this business. It doesn't have to be this like big legal framework, it doesn't have to be anything like that. Just a quick sentence will do just to cover your butt.
Okay. So let me ask this. Is there an easily trackable way to show me who's subscribed? Like, how
Okay.
do I keep myself from getting in trouble by accident?
There is. So in your audience, which is kind of like your big spreadsheet of all your contacts, we tell you a whole bunch of stuff, right? So we tell you, number one, their email, we tell you their SMS. You have all this other data, first name, last name, phone number, etc. And all of these are customizable, right? So I can add a membership type, appointment date, like all these columns you can set up yourself. We have those tags right here. And then right next to the tags, we have what is called email marketing and SMS marketing. And this is where we're going to show you whether or not these folks are subscribed, unsubscribed, non-subscribed, meaning you have them in here somehow, but they never technically opted in to either email or SMS. And then they can also be archived, and then they can also be cleaned. So archived is when you've moved them from this list, you no longer want to reach out to them. And cleaned is when they have bounced. Somehow, for some reason, when you send emails or SMS messages to them, it doesn't get it. It's probably something they did on the
Mm,
back end, nothing you did. So you can
mm.
get a quick glance right here. Mailchimp is only by default going to allow you to send to folks that are marked as subscribed. So it'll never send, let's say, Bradley here. Let's imagine his email marketing was unsubscribed. MailChimp's never going to send to Bradley because we have him marked as unsubscribed. And you can actually toggle this. So you can go to subscription status right here. So I'll flip this to email unsubscribed and SMS unsubscribed. So I want to see both of those lists. And I've got, looks like roughly 300 contacts right here. So all these folks, and I can scroll over and I've got a pill that says unsubscribed right here for them. Right. So we know that these folks we cannot do anything with, right? We cannot send to them because they have opted out of our communication. And then non-subscribed folks as well. I've got them right here. Let's see if I have any in this data set. I do, about 130 folks. So these folks I have in my list somehow. Maybe they've given me their information, but they never technically opted in. So think about like maybe you have a pop-up form on your website. They enter all this information, but they don't click the checkbox that says opt in to email communication. You've seen this a million times before.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
out shopping, right? Then we'll label those folks as non-subscribed. You cannot send to them either. They can be flipped. So if this person, whatever this email address is here, if they visit my website, if they input this same email address, if they click that checkbox or whatever you have and then click the submit button, then MailChimp will flip that to subscribed. So there is a way to get them into kind of the green, but they have to take that action themselves, of course.
Okay. Okay. So walk me through this. And I know you probably went through this, but one more time. So let's say I pull my list right here of
Mhm.
everyone that's not subscribed to SMS. Okay. So when I pull that list, I can then reach out to them and ask them to subscribe, or what is a best practice there?
You can. Yeah, definitely. So I don't have any SMS non-subscribe, but let's just take the email non-subscribed. We'll take them and we'll imagine they're folks
Okay.
that we want to send SMS stuff to. And we'll imagine there's actual data here. So then what
Okay.
you can do is outside of Mailchimp. So use another platform or use Gmail or Yahoo or something else. Take all these emails. I would blind copy them so they don't see each other's emails, right? And send them a message that says, hey, I'd love for you to sign up to get our text messages. And then you would include a link to wherever that sign up form lives on your website, or if it's a landing page or whatever that link is, just include it in that email. Tell them you got to click on this, fill out that short form, click submit. And once they do, then this person and this person and this person. Now, one, you'll have their SMS phone number and it'll be up to date. They might have changed it, but then this email marketing status is going to change from non-subscribed to subscribed. And then you'll be able to text them, to email them, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And you
but
have to
basically, we
do
need to
that.
send for people that have not subscribed. We have to do it outside of Mailchimp.
Correct. Yeah. So MailChimp, like many other, like most other marketing platforms,
Yes, yes, yes.
requires permission, right? So these folks have to tell you in some kind of way, yes, I want this stuff. And the way they tell you is by filling out that sign up form, for example.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that's a big one. Like a lot of our clients are like, man, I just can't get everybody to subscribe. And so
Mhm.
I see there, oh, Judy coming to our rescue again. 10 smart strategies for SMS list building, getting
Yeah.
people to subscribe. I'm a rule follower. I mean, sometimes I ask for permission, I mean, forgiveness over permission, but a lot of times I really focus on that. Just like, how do I do it correctly? You know?
Mhm.
Getting my notes pulled up here.
I'm going to drop
Um,
another one in there. We have
okay.
another article called The Importance of Permission. This has a video that talks about why is it important to have permission. And it's got a few other sections to it of like what you can do, how this is connected to spam reports, spam filters, the consequences if you don't have permission. It's a little boring, but it's really, really important to know.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, what about ways MailChimp can really help streamline our nurturing, our communication, and automating some nurturing? Some ideas there for like lead gen. Like how can you help us with capturing things better?
Yeah. So I think, one of the biggest things is using pop-up forms or any kind of sign-up form, right? So you want to make sure that you have on your website a space where if I'm just on there poking around, I'm just reading about the stuff that you have going on, I have an opportunity to give you my email address, right? So you
Uh-oh, I lost your audio.
there we go. Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen again. What I want to do is I want to go to forms and then I'll go to other forms right here. So what I want to do is I want to create a sign up form that I can connect to my website. That's going to help me with lead gen. So in the top right, I'm going to click create new form. And I have a few different options here. I can create an embedded form. This will just give me a few fields that I can actually then take in and put on my website. This is one of my favorites. It's super simple to set up. So let's create this one. I'll just call this my lead gen form. I associate it with an audience. So once somebody signs up, which audience, which contact list are they added to? We want to take them to that big smooth spa newsletter, and then we'll click continue to builder. And then from here, by default, all we have is email address and phone number. And I've got all that like legal stuff that's so, so important for SMS. Now you can build this out a little bit. So you can go to form fields and you can toggle all of these pieces of data. And this directly correlates to that audience. So I can say, well, I also want these folks' first names and last names and phone numbers. Maybe I want birthday. I want to send them birthday messages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now it populates all of that for you right here. right? You can also rearrange these things. So if I want to have that birthday on top of the phone number, I can just drag and drop that on the side and it'll switch that out right here as well. If I want the first name all the way at the top before the email address, I can do that as well. So you can make those customizations right there. Now, if you click into these things, so if I click into first name right there, I can change how that is displayed right here. I can also add some help text. So if you're asking for a very specific type of data that they might not know, you can say something like, what do your parents call you? That's goofy. That's a very goofy example, but it's going to give them kind of a help prompt right here of what type of data you're looking
Okay,
for.
okay.
And you can set this as required as well. So email address and SMS are always set as required, right? Because that's the basics of how we send to these folks. But you can also set all of these other fields as required as well. I would say the first name should always be required, right? Because we want to be able to use those merge tags so we can personalize the subject lines in the body of our email. So always set that up. And then exiting out, there's some other settings here. You can change the title of this form, the width of the form. There's some CSS and JavaScript styles that you can change here as well. And you can assign a tag. So this helps us with organizing those,
Oh, so as
right?
these forms come in, they'll be automatically tagged?
Correct. So
It's
maybe
my
you have
jam.
a page on your website that's all about Blueberry Festival, and that's where you're going to place this sign up form. Now, everyone who signs up through this is going to be automatically tagged as Blueberry Festival, and that's it. So it's that simple. Now I'm going to click continue in the top right. Mailchimp is going to give you the code to this. So you're going to tap copy code, and then you're going to pop this into your website builder, Squarespace, Google, Wix, whatever it is that you're using to build your websites. And it'll embed that in that page wherever you put it in.
Okay, awesome.
So
Awesome.
that's just one, right? I'm not going to go through all of these because we don't have that time.
But look
But
at all
there
these
are
options.
options for sign up landing pages and pop up forms, which are super, super great, super complex. You can design every nth detail of them. So I would definitely highlight pop up forms as well.
Super, super cool and fun. I love all this information. So, okay, in our last few minutes here, what if we talk through a little bit of like, do you guys have some automations that you can set up when maybe we want to kind of keep reaching out to people? And I know we kind of hit on that slightly earlier with like resend to people that didn't engage, but are there any other automations? And like, really, what I'm trying to get to here, Sasha, is like, things that we might could implement immediately. Like,
Yeah.
what could I go do today to help me with my business as a home service contractor? I'm a heating and air conditioner company, a plumber, a pest control. I'm something. What could I do here?
Yeah. So the number one thing you want to set up is a welcome automation. So imagine I'm on your website right now. I'm poking around, trying to find out information. I submit that email address. What I want to happen is I want to receive that welcome email immediately. So what I can do in Mailchimp is I can go to the automation section and I can go to flow templates specifically. Here we have a directory of, I think it's over 100 different templates that we've completely built out for you. And there's a welcome new contacts one. So I'll just click on this. We have an AI tool that generates the email content. So it'll actually build out an email for me, which you can tweak if you don't like what we did.
Yeah,
But
but what
what
a
this
time saver.
exactly. See, it's already got it right there. It's got a call to action button. It's got an image. And of course, you can tweak all this, right? So now the logic here is this person signs up, boom, they get an email. That's all it does, right? It's that simple. If you like what we did, if you want to turn this on, just click turn on, and that's that, right? They're going to receive this email, every new contact that signs up on your website or wherever they're coming in from. If you want to edit this a little bit more, then click edit email in builder in the bottom left. And that's going to take you into the actual builder itself. So right here, now I can edit that email content because I don't like what Mailchimp did here for whatever reason. That's going to kick me back into that email builder and I can change all this stuff, right? It's got that merge
Options.
tag. You
Options
can
on
edit
top of
all this, et
options.
cetera, et cetera. You can add links like where this is linked to. all that stuff. Once you jazz it up, make it all pretty, save and return to Journey. And now, again, person signs up, they get this email. What I would do is I would also add a time delay. This is going to create a little bit of a buffer. And I'm going to delay something for 2 days. And then I'm going to grab send SMS. I want to text them. So boom, they get an email. 2 days later, I text them, right? I'm just going to save this for now. I'm not going to build it out, but I just want you to see visually what this looks like. So now you're engaging, you're hitting them twice in 2 days saying, hey, welcome. But then also the SMS can be, hey, 10% off. Looks like you haven't booked. 10% off, 20% off, et cetera, et cetera. And then you simply just click continue right here and you accept. Some of the stuff was AI generated, like that email. Click continue right there. Oh, there's an issue. That's right, because I didn't actually set up this SMS.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if this were set up right, this wouldn't be here. And then you turn on this automation, and then it just works in the background for you, right? So now you've done 5 minutes of work. Maybe you take half an hour. You really drill into the details. You flip the switch, you turn this on, and anyone that signs up on your website is getting that email and is getting that SMS
Guys, the
immediately. You don't have to do anything.
immediate launch, immediate launch. I'm going to ask a question that I didn't really prep, so you guys may not have this option yet, but it's just my lemon seed brain is activated here. So we have brand guides for our clients, like with their ideal colors and things like that. Is there a place where we can preload that
Yeah.
into Mailchimp?
There is. So when you create an account, when you're going to like the account creation steps, there should be an option. I can't show you this right now because I'm on an established account
Sure.
where it'll ask you to add your website's URL. And then what we'll do is we'll scrape your website. We'll take your logo, we'll take your colors, your images, your fonts, and we'll put it all into our brand kit.
Uh,
If you haven't done that, if you bypass that during the account setup process, then you can go to content. You can go to brand kit and I'll just well, actually, I won't reset the brand data, but now I can edit all of this stuff right here. So I can say, well, what do I want my logos to be? I've got two logos here. I can add another logo and then I can bring that in from my computer.
So
And
then the AI design tool will utilize, it'll resource back to these because I saw it
correct.
utilize that little face there.
Yep, it'll always like if we know what your logo is, we're always going to drop it in. We're just going to take that step out of the way for you, make your life a little bit easier. And you can see this is the primary logo. So this is the one that we're always going to use. You can flip back and forth in the actual email builder if you want. And then what are your fonts? We use Poppins Bold here, but we have all these other fonts in here. And we recommend using just the fonts that we have because they're web safe. We do not, you can, but we do not recommend uploading fonts. And the reason for that is some of these email clients, Gmail, Yahoo, etc., may not parse that font correctly. It may not be allowed in their infrastructure, and they might just flip it to like Helvetica or something, and then you lose all this work that you've done. So we
Okay.
would only recommend using the ones that we provide in here because we know they're safe. And of course, your color set. So you've got your primary colors, secondary colors, and you see the hex codes for them right here. And then simply add color if you want another one. And you've got a color picker and a swatch here, or you can just input the hex code right there as
Which
well.
which if you've been rebranded professionally, through us, then we would have all of this information for you and we'd be able to help you get this in there. And then using
Correct.
AI to generate some emails would be definitely a nice piece. So I love this. I love this. So I'm gonna kind of open up the chat for a moment. Those of you that
Mhm.
are watching, if you want to, in the middle of the screen down there is just chat. If you would like to pop a question in here for Lemon Seed or Sasha. In the meantime, my team behind the scenes, I want to give you how to reach out to Lemon Seed if you're interested in services. They'll pop that in here. But also, I want you to ask some questions for Sasha and I to answer. So, just to give everybody a little recap, email marketing is the most underutilized tool that I think contractors use. Sasha just spent the last 45 minutes giving you all types of cool things, how to address your emails going to spam, how to get more people signed up for SMS, how to get our brand kit updated, how to set up tags. All of that he approached here in 45 minutes worth of time. and it is very impactful. It's one of those things that I think email marketing, if you spend a little bit of time setting things up correctly on the front side, then you definitely are paying for that as you're reaping the benefits of that as you move forward. So setting up a welcome email, guys, is a no-brainer. Easy to do, easy to launch. Using that AI tool generate AI graphic generator, also a cool idea. So lots of great opportunities here, lots of great opportunities. So if you would like to talk with Lemon Seed about how we can help you make email marketing a part of your strategy, Madison there has put it in the Slack channel. Judy, if you're still listening with us and you want to put what's a way to reach out to Mailchimp directly. Also, Lemon Seed has a wonderful partnership with Mailchimp. So if you are utilizing both Lemon Seed and Mailchimp, we can make sure to get you connected to Mailchimp, get you all signed up for them. But overall, as Sasha said earlier, regardless of if you're using Mailchimp or not, all of these are best practices for straight up email marketing. So again, not using their platform, you still need to be setting up all of these parameters and tools and utilizing this because it is a slept on tactic. Sasha, any final words as we're wrapping up?
I would say number one, of course, we're going to come out and reach out with some resources. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we have planned for you guys. So I'm going to pass that over to Judy. Judy will pass it over to you. I just want to share some resources that we have
Yeah.
just real live. I think today a lot of folks learn via video. I know I'm a visual learner myself. So I just want to highlight our YouTube channel. I'm going to share my screen again. So youtube.com/Mailchimp. If you see right here, I'm going to highlight this. We have 454 videos. That's a ton of stuff, right? So you can learn all the different ways to use Mailchimp. We have all these tutorials and webinars. Prep and Start. If you've never used it, start with the Prep and Start playlist right here. Growing and scaling. Maybe you've got the hang of some of the basics. Watch these grow and scale videos. And then like, what are some strategies? What are some concepts beyond like, how do I click and do this and that and the third? How do I actually learn about some high level thinking? These marketing concepts are also a great space as well. As you can tell, these things range from 1 minute long to 8 or 9 minutes long. So it's something that, you can watch while you're, just sitting on the couch, on your lunch break, etc. So definitely this is a space that I would go to. The other section in this toolbar, go to playlists, and we've got some other playlists here. We've even got some of our conferences that we've held in the past completely recorded, so we can see, what we've told to folks all across the world. We're talking to some high level companies, high level like industry folks, what they're saying that you should be doing. That's a lot of really great stuff for you to learn from right there as well. But those tutorials are probably going to be the best bet, and you can find all those here.
Love, love all the access to support materials. So, okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. And so Lemon Seed, like I said, we would love to connect you to MailChimp and get you set up with them so you can start making the most out of SMS marketing. And so I just want to thank everybody for being here with us. Sasha, thank you so much for your time. You are a rock star.
Thank
I think
you.
everybody got really excited when they could see you sharing screen. They were like, yes, actuals.
Yeah.
And so we have been working with MailChimp for several months now. We have some cool things that we do with them. And so we're really encouraging you guys to, join us and helping you really get email marketing going. So to everyone, thank you so much. We'll be sending out a recap of this. I saw where Judy's like, we're sending out all of these things. Again, reach out to Lemon Seed, reach out to MailChimp. We'd love to help you. Until next time, everybody, have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, folks. Take care.